Blessed day to everybody, and welcome to It's When Lightning Strikes. I am your host. My name is Grace, and this is going to be part 2 of a 2-part series about intention and what this is. So yesterday was part 1, and what we did was use the Mojave Desert Growing Project that I have going on here that we are sharing together. And we took a tour. You might want to go back and watch that video so you know what we're talking about. And kind of discussed several different things. It could have been an endless number of things, but several different things in terms of my intentional choices to do what I did. So, intention is really, really important to have intention. And this is intention in what you're doing, intention in what you're saying, intention in how you're acting, because you're conscious if you're doing things intentionally, you're conscious. You have awareness. There's no other way to be intentional. So in terms of the garden growing project, let's think about what that took for me to be intentional. I had to have a knowledge base of the environment that I live. After 5 years of being a desert dweller, I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what it means to live in the desert, and all the potential obstacles that I might run into, from not having fertile land to having water that's treated to the excessive heat. It just goes on and on and on. I had to have knowledge of the path of the sun in respect to my backyard. I had to have knowledge of all of the different beings that I live with, to make all of the intentional decisions or intentional choices that I made. So for intention to happen requires thought or thoughtfulness. It can't happen any other way. I had to think, and I did for many weeks, about all of the things that I might be contending with, the obstacles that I knew I had, and how I was going to overcome those, so I could make informed and intentional choices that hopefully are going to be the right ones, and we're going to be seeing that as time goes by here. So intention cannot happen without thought, okay? If you're unintentional, then this is a thoughtless thing. It has to be, because it's unintentional. So unintentional is thoughtless. Intention is thoughtful. Being thoughtful requires consciousness. So if you're thoughtless, you're really acting in an unconscious manner, because there's no purpose behind what you're doing, which is more of a reaction than anything else. So sometimes reactions are good, like if you're standing on the train tracks and the train is coming, you might want to react by jumping off the tracks. This is kind of a good example of reacting. If you look at human-to-human interactions, people react a lot. They fly off the handle, they get angry, they get violent, any number of things, because they're reacting without thought. And that's almost never a good thing. So kind of ultimately what we're talking about here is having an awareness of self, meaning you pause, you take a moment to be self-aware. And if you're doing that, then you're not reacting any longer. Reactions just happen. There's no self-awareness. There's no moment of, this person's really making me angry. What they said is really making me angry. What they've done is really making me angry, or it's really making me sad, or whatever your reaction is going to be. If you're just reacting to what someone has said or what someone has done or whatever, there's no thought in this. There's no self-awareness in this. And so when you have self-awareness, you're not reacting any longer. And this requires self-control. And both of these things are essential, absolutely necessary. You can't not have them on the path to self-mastery or mastery of yourself. 2 words, yourself. This is kind of a lost thing in this world, from what I've observed. There's just a lot of reacting going on to any number of things. Reacting in fear, reacting in anger, reacting in, violence. It just goes on and on and on. So if you are not self-aware, then obviously you have no self-mastery, and you're going to tend to be reactionary. And this really is a problem. It's a problem because all we have is a bunch of people reacting, and typically not in good ways. So being intentional is a really important skill to learn, and it's part of self-mastery. It's part of self-control. It's part of self-awareness. And this is intentional in your actions. This is intentional in the words that you let come out of your mouth. So instead of just barfing words out, again, it's that moment of pause in, what am I about to let out of my mouth, and is that appropriate? Is it harmful? Is it hurtful? Is it necessary? But you've got to have self-awareness in order to be intentional about your words. So intention is kind of a critical skill to learn and a critical skill to have. And when you start thinking in terms of intention, then you can be looking at the world in a different way, because how I look at the world is, what's the intention behind this, and who are the people behind this intention, and is this their true intention, or is their true intention hidden behind something else? So I'm always asking questions. There cannot be enough questions. Who's doing this? Why are they doing this? What's the intention behind this? Intention can also be, what's the purpose behind this? What is the motive behind this? This is just such a super, super, super critical thing in this world that we're living in, because very little is what it really appears to be. And this is, our search for the truth of things. And you can't find the truth unless you're looking for it. And you can't find the truth unless you're questioning things and searching for, the answers the intentions, the motives behind any number of things, including your own. Okay, we all have intention. We might not have good intentions. We might have bad intentions. This is true too. So again, this comes back to self-awareness. How are you going through this world? What are your intentions? Are they good? Are they not so good? Are your intentions to manipulate others? I mean, these are all good questions for ourselves, for the people around us, for anything happening in this world. We should be asking these questions, because if we were asking these questions, quite frankly, we'd be living in a different world. So intention, think about it. Do you have intention? Do you have intention in what you're doing? Do you have intention in what you're saying? Maybe your intention is, you want to hurt this person, so you're going to say something awful. That's an intention. Not exactly probably the way we want to be walking through this world, but at least you're being honest about your intention. So honesty is the second teaching of the grandfathers. So critically important quality to have is the ability to be honest, especially with yourself. Maybe we'll get into that more at a later time, but start thinking about intention. Think about what intention takes. Again, intention cannot happen without thought, without consciousness. It can't. If you don't have those two things, then you're being unintentional. It's accidental. It's not purposeful. So start reflecting, contemplating, looking at your life and how you're walking through this life, in your actions, in your thoughts, in your deeds, in your words. Do they have intention? Yes or no? If they don't have intention, do you want to start being more intentional? We all should be as intentional as possible. If we're intentional, we eliminate a lot of misunderstandings. Do you want to be more conscious about what you're doing? Do you want to be more conscious about what you're saying? Do you want to be less reactionary to others, to what's happening in the world, to what you hear, to what you read? This requires self-mastery. This requires self-awareness. And so this is a good place to start on all of those things. We could go on and on and on about intention, but I think that's enough to start with. Intention is kind of the groundwork of many of the other topics that I know are coming up. They're going to require intention. They're going to require purpose. So we have a lot to contemplate moving forward here. Thank you for joining me today on the channel where lightning is bound to strike. Till we come together again, be blessed.